We're going live.
No. We'll do it live.
This is the Come On Man podcast. And here's your host, Paul Bauer.
Good morning, everybody. It's Friday, baby. It's supposed to be nice this weekend. At least my neck of the woods. I have some fun plans this weekend, man. I have some fun plans this weekend. Nurse Chick and I are going motorcycle riding. We're going to catch up on WrestleMania and the last week of Raw and SmackDown, since we've been avoiding spoilers like the plague. I got this friend in the 3% Brotherhood. His name is Jose. And he's more of an MMA fan than a wrestling fan, but he likes wrestling too. And he sends me every goddamn wrestling meme out there. He tags me in every goddamn wrestling post. So I've been like, anytime I get a notification that he's sending me something or tagging me something, I'm just like, I'm avoiding it like the absolute plague. And Jose, if you're watching right now, F you, buddy. F you. I told you no spoilers, man. No spoilers. All right. What do you guys have? You guys in the chat right now, what do you guys have planned? What do you got going on this weekend? Are any of you guys leveling up? Are you guys leveling up this weekend? Man, look at this sunburn I got. Yesterday I went to my daughter's tennis match and sat in the sun. I didn't have sunscreen on. That was awesome. Anyway, leveling up. That's what we're going to talk about today. What does it even mean? What does it mean to level up? My man Ryan Stone, he did a stream the other day, and he was talking about how the concept of leveling up is sort of a grift in this space. You know, it's one of those container words used for marketing. Ryan, as usual, is not wrong. Ryan's a smart guy. He's one of the smartest guys on the Rule Zero crew, I'm going to say. I think I learned the most from him, Rolo, and Apex Paul. You know what I mean? Like especially when it comes to like sexual dynamics. Those guys are damn geniuses. One might say that studying under their tutelage is one way that I'm leveling up. You know what I mean? Wouldn't you say so? Especially as a content creator in the men's space. Still, though, I know exactly what he's saying, and he makes a lot of sense. In fact, in his book, we're not at the 8-minute mark. So in his book, F-Files, he has a chapter on how self-help is basically mental masturbation, and it really can be. It really can be. It's easy to get addicted to self-help content, you know, whether it's books and videos, but if it has no bearing on your life or what direction you want to go, it could be a monumental waste of your time and money, right? On that note, let's do some housekeeping. Before I get too far into this, though, let me, for those of you guys that are watching right now on Facebook, smash that like button. I'm going to write this out. Smash that like button and head over to YouTube. There we go. For you Facebook peeps right now. Otherwise, we'll see you in the chat over here on YouTube. Yeah, before I get too far into leveling up here, though, let's do the usual housekeeping. Be sure to like, subscribe, hit those notifications. If you guys are watching live right now, sound off in the live chat. It actually makes these go smoother when when you guys participate. And also, if you guys are watching during the replay, drop a comment below. Any comment will do, either emoji or whatever. But still, if you guys are watching live right now, sound off in the chat, man. Audience participation makes these go by so much smoother. And for whatever reason, y'all were quiet AF on Wednesday. There was people in the chat Wednesday, but either you guys got your feelings hurt by my heel promo stuff, or you guys just hate pro wrestling. But either way, no one was talking in the chat on Wednesday. It was sad. It was real sad. There was a couple of comments in there, but it wasn't like usual. Usually you guys are in here, having a good time with me and asking questions and making comments. And yeah, please participate, because if you don't, it goes by too quick. It's over before the hour's up, and it's just not as fun. It's more fun when you guys play along. You know what I mean? All right. If you have a specific question, though, send it as a super chat. And if you send it as a super chat, I've got some fun sound bites to play for you. But sending super chats and super stickers and stuff like that actually helps support the show more than because a lot of times my videos get demonetized because of the content, and so I'm actually supported by viewers like you. So thank you for you guys that do send super chats. Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. I'm on all the good platforms. I'm trying to build my Instagram account up, so follow me over there if you don't do that already. Get on the Patreon, patreon.com/comeonmanpod. You can join for as little as $10. $10, you get my Monday interviews ad-free, and you get them early. So like next week's interview is with the business bully, and we're talking about how he lost 284 pounds. You guys that are in the Patreon get that episode with just an interview this afternoon at 4:30 p.m. Eastern time. So if you want to get things early before anybody else, and you want them ad-free, join the Patreon for $10. And then if you want coaching, tiers 2 or tiers 3 for that. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com, and for your troubles, I will send you some stickers. If you like those stickers, they're also available as mugs and hoodies and t-shirts and stuff like that. The only one that's not available as a sticker is this one. There's no cold approach. No cold approach in the cow pasture. This is only available on in merch. In the merch, the cups, if you want a mug, they're linked below the video. And otherwise, you can go to merch.comeonmanpod.com for you audio listeners and check that stuff out. If you got to live out the country, you gotta let people know that there's no cold approach cow pasture. All right, and then finally, check out my Practical Law of Attraction course, loa.comeonmanpod.com. It's a mindset course. It's chick crack free, and there's no genies granting wishes. It's all psychology based. That being said, I'm going to talk a little bit about the spirituality aspect of Law of Attraction later in this video, but for this course, I really wanted to break it down to simple terms, and you can't get more simple than the psychological explanation for the Law of Attraction. And for people, for today only, Friday, if you're watching live, good for you. If you're watching on the replay today, Friday, the first 5 guys who DM me on Twitter, I did this on Instagram Wednesday, and I gave away these codes very quickly, actually. But I thought I'd do it again. This time on Twitter. I will get I'll give you my Practical Law of Attraction course for 30% off. I'll give you a code for that. If you DM me on Twitter today and say, hey, I'm interested in taking the Practical Law of Attraction course, give me the code. And if I still have codes available, I will give you one. And you can take the course for 30% off. So if you've been wanting to take the course and you've been waiting for some kind of discount, well, here you go. Here's your opportunity. DM me on Twitter today. If you DM me tomorrow, if you DM me today on Twitter, I'll give you a code for 30% off. So check that out. I will play a commercial for it, and then we'll talk about leveling up today. And here we go. Do you struggle to find the kind of women you want? Are you tired of swiping away all day on dating apps and only finding mediocre women? When you're out and about at the supermarket or at the mall, all you see are woke liberal women? You can't seem to find a traditional submissive woman that checks all your boxes. What if I were to tell you that the reason why you can't find your traditional submissive woman is because of your mindset, because of your paradigm? We get what we focus on in life. And you have programmed your mind to think that there's only trash women around you. You've programmed your mind by focusing on what you don't want in a relationship. To solve this problem, I've created my Practical Law of Attraction course. In my course, I will teach you how to reprogram your subconscious mind so that you will be hyper aware of the kind of women that will check all of your boxes. It's not that they weren't there before, it's just that you weren't aware of them because of your current mindset. So let's change that mindset today. Check out my course by visiting loa.comeonmanpod.com. That's loa.comeonmanpod.com. The law of attraction is nothing without action. So act now. Act now, guys. Remember, DM me on Twitter. Get a coupon code 30% off. First 5 guys that do that, I will send you a code. Hey, good morning, Donger. Good morning, brother. All right. So let's talk about leveling up. Let's talk about leveling up today. What does that even mean, guys? Merriam-Webster's defines leveling up as to advance or to improve. Either improve oneself, someone else, or something in or as if in a game. Google defines it as progressing to the next level. You want to think Super Mario Brothers, right? When you go to the next world or whatever, that's leveling up in that game, isn't it? Getting to the next level of whatever it is, right? Now, the thing is about leveling up is it's very personal. You know what I mean? My idea of leveling up is not the same as someone like Aaron Clarey, for instance, right? Aaron teaches people to live a minimalism lifestyle. Live within their means so you can have more freedom in life with less money. Okay? Absolutely nothing wrong with that. And, and I would also like to say that, I've been to Clarey's bunker. And it's a really nice bunker. All right. It's not an old shack out in the woods where, people walk around barefoot drinking moonshine. It's very classy for a bomb shelter. Actually, Clarey's joint is pretty nice, actually. Very nice. But still, Cappy and I, we have different goals. We have different goals. We have different responsibilities. We have different values. So our idea of what leveling up is probably different as well, right? So it all really comes down to direction. I can tell you to eat a dozen eggs and a pound of steak a day, but if your goal isn't to build lean body mass, why are you even doing it? Maybe you like eggs and steak. Who doesn't? Vegans. That's who. But why are you even doing it? You see what I'm saying? Right? Jordan Peterson says to make your bed in the morning. Why? I'm just going to mess it up again when I get back at night. When I climb into my bed at night, I'm just going to mess it up again. Why am I wasting my time making my bed? If nobody's coming over to my house and no one's going to see my bed nicely made and presentable, why am I making it? That's a waste of time to me, right? I think Gary Vee says the same thing, right? Millionaire Gary Vee. He's like, I'm not making my bed. So why is that Jordan Peterson's rules for life? Start with making your bed in the morning because at least you accomplish something. You got to ask yourself, why am I even doing it? You know what I mean? Why am I going to do something blindly? So you have to ask yourself why before doing something blindly. And, only do it if it will help you achieve what you really want and if it aligns with your goals and values. You see what I'm saying? So needlessly to say, leveling up is essentially comes down to being your own mental point of origin, as Rello teaches, right? What do you want in life? What's important to you? What do you value? Megatron, what's up, brother, man? What are you doing? What are you doing this weekend, man? You got weekend plans? It's all about you, man. You got to start with you first. What's best for you? You'll find out that if you start focusing on what's best for you and you start there, right? Do what's best for me first. What tends to happen is everyone else around you tends to benefit. It's like when you're on an airplane and the stewardess says, you got to put your oxygen mask on first before you help anybody else. You got to help yourself first, right? You can't put an oxygen mask on someone else if you can't breathe. So put the oxygen mask on for yourself first, then worry about other people. Okay. So same thing with leveling up. You got to figure out what's best for you. Not what's best for your girlfriend, what's best for your wife, what's best for your mom and dad, right? What's best for you, and start from there. Before I talk about some ideas of what leveling up might be, I want to give you some background on me. Oh, hey, so let's see here. My man's working out right now and playing my show, enjoying the day off, working on the truck. Glad to catch the stream today. Hell yeah, working out right now and playing the show, leveling up. Nice. Mental point of origin. Exactly. So I want to give you guys some background on me, right? So one of my mentors when I was a kid was I was in karate, and I had a sensei. His name was Fred Bodie. He owned East West Karate off of Sheridan Boulevard in Denver, Colorado. Mr. Bodie was an airborne ranger, had an outstanding mindset. He I did an essay on him once when I was in third grade. My mom entered me in this essay contest. It was like this national essay contest sponsored by 3M. I still remember it because I worked hard on this essay. And the essay was on unsung heroes, right? They wanted kids to write about guys that they looked up to, that they learned a lot from, and stuff like that. And I picked Mr. Bodie, my sensei. So my mom took me down to the dojo. We called it a karate studio then, but you know, dojo, same difference. Went down to the studio and interviewed Mr. Bodie. And Mr. Bodie was in Vietnam. He was airborne ranger in Vietnam. And he didn't like to talk about Vietnam very much, but my mom kept every time I asked him a question and he wanted to avoid the answer, my mom kept pressing him, you know, because my mom's like, you know, persistent like that. She's like a bulldog. And so he's like, for instance, he got shot in the head. And survived. And so he talked about how he got shot in the head. And so I asked him as a kid, I was like, how'd you get shot in the head? And he's like, I stood up. And like as a kid, I'm thinking, oh, he stood up for what he believed in or whatever. No. He stood up while they were shooting at him and he accidentally got hit in the head, right? It's like bad idea. But he didn't want to talk about it. He didn't want to talk about getting shot in the head. So, but that came out, right? He got shot in the head, survived that. He also got stabbed once. He was doing a martial arts demonstration with swords, and the sword slipped, and he stabbed himself on it. So he had this like nasty scar where he got stabbed by a fucking samurai sword. But anyway, all that stuff, Mr. Bodie just had an outstanding mindset. I remember when I was leaving for the Navy, I went and found him. My brother and I went down to his office, and at that time he had retired from teaching karate, and he was working with his wife. His wife owned a home healthcare service, and so he was managing that for her. And so we showed up at his office randomly one day, and he's like, oh, let's go out to dinner, guys. So he and his wife like took my brother and I out to dinner. And I was telling him like, hey, I'm getting ready to leave for the Navy, and you're a ranger. Like, what do you recommend? And he was just like, it's all mindset. It's all in your head. If you could tell yourself you can do it, like you can do it. You know what I mean? Like he was like, there's going to be days that just absolutely suck. And you just need to say, I could do that. I could get through this. Right. So he was just like a master mindset, and he was just very adamant about it. And so that's how I changed my mindset when I went into boot camp. You know, there was a guy first night in boot camp. I'm going off on a tangent here. There was a guy first night in boot camp, right? We get there at like midnight. By the time we got up to Naval Training Station there, or at, up at Great Lakes, we get up there and man, it's like midnight, and you're up like all night. You know, they have you in like a little classroom while they're issuing you your toothpaste and your sneakers and your Smurfs. We called them Smurfs, but they were, our sweatpants and stuff like that, and our underwear and all that stuff. There, it's like a whole process. We're shaving our heads, we're all that kind of stuff, right? We're up literally all night. And then we finally get to our barracks this one time at boot camp. You clown, Governor. Anyway, so we get to the barracks, and I just remember that night there was this kid. And I say kid, like we're all kids, right? Like I was 18, but there was this one kid that he was just sitting up on top bunk, and he was praying. And the next morning he was gone. The kid escaped, right? He left in the middle of the night. He hitched a ride on a trash truck and basically escaped boot camp. We ended up seeing him a couple weeks later, because when that happens, when you go, they call it UA, right? You might hear it in the movies as AWOL. In the Navy, we called it UA, right? Unauthorized absence. If you go UA like that, they basically put out an APB for you. And if you ever get pulled over for a ticket or whatever, like the cops see that you're UA from the military, that they arrest you and then they send you on back. And so this kid came back a couple weeks later. We saw him. I can't remember what they called it, but they basically admin step people that do that, right? People that can't hack it boot camp and they run away. They give them a, I don't know, some kind of other than honorable discharge from the service. So, but yeah, that guy just couldn't even hack it. He got there, didn't even make it one night, and he was already like running away. Right. So I got there and I was just like, I had the mentality of, this is my home now. You know what I mean? Like I'm not living with my parents now. Like this is my place. This is my pad. Like that's how I went into it. And it did suck, but every day I just told myself, just like my sensei said, like I can do this, I can do this. It's it's only a couple weeks and stuff like that. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard the trouble you can get in for that kind of thing in the military. Yeah. I mean, it's highly frowned upon. So anyway, going back to Mr. Bodie, he gave me my first intro to the law of attraction and affirmations, when my grades were slipping. And I talk about this more in my practical law of attraction course, but he had me write out affirmations about how I was a good student, how I always learned, or I always earned good grades, etc. And he had me read them in the morning and the evening. And after a month or so, my grades did improve, right? Just sitting there, just repetitively telling myself that I'm a good student. I pay attention. I always get good grades. I always get A's, right? That conditions your subconscious mind to act accordingly. You know what I mean? He also had us read affirmations at the beginning and the end of every class. We had the leadership rules at the beginning of class, and we had black belt rules at the end of class. And one of the black belt rules, and I still remember it to this day, is I will always strive to develop myself mentally, physically, and spiritually. We had to read that at the end of every class. So when I think of leveling up, it's usually in one of those three areas, right? I would also add that to that list, you should strive to level yourself up romantically and monetarily, right? However, if you level up mentally, often you'll also level up monetarily. And if you level up monetarily, you often will level up romantically, because those chicks only care about money. Am I right, guys? You know what I'm saying. So in all seriousness, though, hey, you know what? This might be a good time to remind you guys to smash that like button, subscribe, and hit those notifications, and drop a comment. Sound off in the live chat if you're watching right now. There's a bunch of you guys that are watching right now. There should be at least, there's like 12 people watching. There should be at least 12 likes on this video right now. That's my rule of thumb. All right. So when I think of leveling up, it's usually one of those three areas. So yeah, we talked about that. So in all seriousness, I'd like to talk about this more, or I talk about this more in my upcoming book. Jesus. It's so early for me. Like it's 10 a.m. Eastern time, but it's 8:25 right now for me. I literally get up at like 7:15 and brush my teeth. I let my dog out, and then I'm on here. I'm still not awake yet. So anyway, I talk about this more in my upcoming book. If you focus on always developing your mind, your body, your heart, or spirit in some way, you'll find that everything else in life tends to sort of fall into line, right? Health, wealth, relationships, all of it, right? It's one of the reasons I created my Practical Law of Attraction course. It's all about improving your mindset and learning how to focus your mind on the goals you want to achieve in life. It also teaches you to reprogram your subconscious so that your subconscious goes to work night and day trying to figure out how to make your goals a reality. I think it's also why my sensei listed mentally as the first thing we should always strive to develop. because when you get your mind right, like everything else tends to fall into place, because everything in life, it's all about mindset, right? You hear about like people that are wealthy. Wealth is a mindset, right? When you talk about like, needing to go to the gym every day, right? That's discipline over motivation. You know what I mean? That's a mindset. So if you fix yourself mentally, like everything else tends to fall in the line. So let's talk about ways we can level up mentally, right? So one is to take my practical law of attraction course. That'll help you out. Oh, and then remember, guys, if you DM me on Twitter today, the first 5 get a discount code. Another that I highly recommend is another way to level up mentally that I recommend is to listen to audiobooks, right? I mean, you can listen to, or you can read paperback books too, but like for me, I don't know about you guys, but reading paperback books, it's an absolute struggle. Just because I have to make time to sit down and do it. For instance, I still haven't read Ryan's book. I still haven't read it. It's just been sitting here, and I said it's here so that I can plug it for Ryan. Covert contract. Yeah, I gotta get on Ryan's good side. No, I was kidding. But I've been reading Athol Kay's book, and Athol Kay's books. It's not that big of a book, but it's thick and it's dense, and there's a lot of information in it. It's taken me forever to get through it. So Ryan's book's next after that one, but audiobooks, I can knock out an audiobook in a week, right? Because I can multitask when I do it, right? It's effortless learning. I can listen in the car, at the gym, on a run, right? Which is leveling up physically with that too, right? So I'm leveling up mentally and physically at the same time. But I would also say with audiobooks that you should really only listen to audiobooks that will get you where you want to go. You know what I mean? If you want to get better with dating and relationships, read or listen to my Holy Trinity of books, right? How to Be a 3% Man, Atomic Attraction, and Dating Essentials for Men. It's my Holy Trinity. If you want to get better with money, right? Minimalistic lifestyle, something like that. If you want a minimalistic lifestyle, take Clary's course on minimalism, or his course on financial excellence. The link is in the description for Clary's courses. If you want to see all of it, he's got a new course out too on like the dad you never had. If you click on that link and then click on like show all products or whatever, you see all 3 of his courses there. You can sign up for his courses. Like Clary's one of the smartest guys in the world when it comes to finances and economics. So check out his course if you want to level up with money. If you want to be an entrepreneur though, right? Like Clary doesn't teach that. Clary teaches living like within your means, saving your money, and having more freedom with less, right? But if you want to have like tons of money, be like Rich Cooper or Andrew Tate, right? You want to be an entrepreneur, then read MJ DeMarco's The Millionaire Fastlane, or also recommend reading Sell or Be Sold by Grant Cardone, because you'll find that if you really want to get like rich, you have to learn how to sell, right? You have to have products to sell to people so that you get money. Like that's how that works. Another great book on like wealth mindset, right, is Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, because that really teaches you about how wealthy people view money versus how poor people view money, because it's totally different. It's totally different, right? Like when it comes to like, he gives an example in his book about like wanting to buy a bicycle. So he goes to his poor dad, who was a teacher, and his poor dad is like, oh, we can't afford that right now. Right. So then he goes to his rich dad, who was actually his like best friend's dad, who was a business owner. And he went to that guy and said, I want to get a bike. And the guy's like, well, let's figure out how we can get that bike. Right. It's a totally different mindset. Let's figure out how we earn money to get that bike. Another great book by Kiyosaki is Fake. Awesome book, man. That talks about how like basically our monetary system is monopoly money, and how at any time it could collapse, right? So a lot of people are like, oh, well, put your money in crypto. Well, like if there's like a global disaster, you got to sort of think of all scenarios, right? If there's like this global disaster where you have like no access to the internet now, like what, your crypto doesn't do shit. How, like, oh, you might have your USB wallet or whatever, but how do you send that to somebody if you don't have any internet? You know what I mean? So he recommends, investing in gold and silver, like physically owning it, like having it at your house, gold and silver, because that's always been worth something. That's God's money, right? So that's a great book. If you want to be a better leader at work, right, level up into a management position. Let's say that you're just a worker bee, but you want to get into management someday. Read Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. Dude, that book is a phenomenal book. Extreme Ownership. That's what, like, with extreme ownership, you realize that everything's your fault. If you own everything in your world, everything's your fault. You take accountability for everything in your life, right? And when you do that, it's actually like you are more free because you stop pointing the fingers at everybody. You realize that everything that led you to that current spot that you're in was based on decisions you made somehow, right? He also talks about leading in a chain of command. So leading up the chain and leading like the down the chain. You know what I mean? So you could do that. And like when you take that kind of ownership, like people see that, people recognize that, you get promoted, or you could find better positions somewhere else and leave, if you need to. But yeah, outstanding book. But you guys get the idea, right? Right? You can level up mentally by learning new things and you could do it relatively effortlessly by listening to podcasts and audiobooks. What books do you guys recommend? Any of you guys out there? MJ, DeMarco. Jack Napier is the best homosexual influencer in the Maysphere. Oh, that's great. Motivation is overrated. Action breeds passion. Just take action, you'll get motivated. Yeah, more often than not. One thing that I learned from Dr. Robert Glover was thinking causes anxiety, but action cures it, right? Taking action cures it. But going back to audiobooks, guys, what books do you guys recommend? You guys have any recommendations out there? Any ones other than the obvious, right? Like you guys have probably all read the Rule Zero guys books, right? Like Praxeology and Rational Male and Clary's thousands of books, but any other books that I haven't mentioned, do you guys recommend any? Drop it in the chat. I'll bring it up here. Another way you can level up mentally is by going to college or trade school, right? College isn't really education, though, in my opinion. It's a lot of memorization and regurgitation, right? It's also a lot of partying and banging bitches. Not really education, though. True education, like that kind of thing comes from like a mentor, right? Great example for me is being on the Rule Zero panel. I'm essentially getting mentored by guys like Rollo, Ryan, Clary, and Paul on like how to be better content creators and how to market my content better. Dude, those guys are geniuses. Like we sit around after Rule Zero and just sort of like talk shop for like 15, 20 minutes or whatever. And I'm just like taking notes anytime they say anything, man. Like those guys are great. That's how I try to level up and get an education on this content creation stuff. The only reason why I'm doing streams right now is because I went and hung out with Clary and we went hiking and Clary's like, dude, you need to do more streams, man. You need to do live streams. Cause up until then I wasn't doing any live streams. It was actually a pain. It's much easier for me to schedule 3 or 4 interviews in a week, right? And then schedule those out. And then that gives me more free time, right? But these live streams like actually takes up like it takes about an hour in the morning. And then it takes me like, about depending on the topic. Sometimes it'll take me an hour to write up show notes for this, to get prepared for this. So that takes up, and I'm doing 2 live streams a week now, every Wednesday and Friday, guys, at 10 a.m. Eastern time. So that takes up like, 4 hours at least, extra a week now that I have to like make time for this stuff. Right. So, but Clary's like, dude, you got to do it. If you want to be a content creator, you want to grow on YouTube or something like that, you got to do live streams. So, all right, man. How to be a 3% man. Yeah. Listen to it 10 times. If you get to the 15th time, you get a diploma from Corey Wayne. 304 interviews. Are you fresh? No, nope. Not going to do that. I don't need to talk to 304s to know that they're 304s. Let's see here. You can also get a great education from books and audiobooks, like I mentioned. However, you should keep this in mind. My man here says that he's read How to Be a 3% Man 10 times. Speaking of the Rule Zero guys, we all had this like chat the other day, and we were talking about Corey Wayne, because Corey Wayne, if you've read the book, right? Corey Wayne talks about his girlfriend, his British girlfriend, that they only broke up because she ended up like going back to England to go to school. And someone in the 3% Brotherhood group dropped a picture from Corey's story on Instagram, and his British girlfriend was in the picture, and she's a smoke show, man. She's a young, hot blonde chick. And so it was like, oh, look, Corey's finally showing his receipts. Show us your receipts, Corey. Anyway, so the funny thing is, so like I sort of mentioned that to the Rule Zero guys, and they all, were talking about Corey, and like most of those guys don't like Corey. But Jack Napier, he's a 3% brother. He actually has read How to Be a 3% Man multiple times, like we're supposed to. And so I actually was dropping that in there mainly for Jack's benefit. And but they were all, sort of saying how who was it? Maybe it was Troy. I think it was Troy. And he's like, oh, these guys are like, they've read Corey's book like 30 times. And I'm like, don't you have a life? And I'm like, yeah, but if the thing is about reading books multiple times, right, is you only retain about 10% of the information when you go through it one time. So if you really want to master the information that's in there, you do want to read it at least 10 to 15 times to really soak it all in and make it a part of your personality and who you are. And the thing about reading books multiple times too is that every time that you read it, you usually find something new. And it's not that, that information wasn't there before, but you sort of just like recognize it. A lot of times too, when you're listening to audiobooks, you'll hear something that'll send your mind off on a tangent up here, and you're not really paying attention to the audiobook. And then you come back down to the audiobook periodically. Well, that means you missed like a whole chunk of material. So the next time you listen to it, when your mind goes off on tangents and comes back down to the book, it sometimes comes back to information that you missed before. You know what I mean? So it's not a waste of time to read this stuff multiple times, and you actually will master the information. The more you do that, right? So what I recommend is you find these audiobooks that are going to help you on your path. And then you pick out ones that are like, have really good information, right? Like How to Be a 3% Man is one of them. And you listen to those ones on repeat. So you create like a repeat list. Like, I'm going to listen to this one at least 10 times or whatever. What's his name? Bob Proctor. He, I talk about him a lot in my Law of Attraction course, but he read Think and Grow Rich for 60 years. he read it and reread it and studied it for about 60 years of his life. Ended up being a multimillionaire. So, but the thing is about reading books multiple times. Let's see here. Psycho-Cybernetics. That's a book. Okay. Nancy Friday's My Secret Garden. Oh yeah, I've heard that one. I've heard of that one. That's supposed to be like about women and like how women sexually fantasize, and you get a good insight into like women and like how actually kinky women really are, right? Hey guys, if you have a question, send a super chat. Support the show. So anyways, going back to reading books multiple times though, right? You can read a book 1,000,000 times, but if you aren't actually going out there and practicing what you're learning in the book, it's just theory. It's mental masturbation, right? You could level up mentally by learning a new skill. Hold on a second. Early mornings, am I right? You can level up mentally by learning a new skill or getting a certification, which could help you level up monetarily or get a better job, right? One cool thing that I've learned just over the years, not just with the podcast, but before that, I used to have a tech podcast on YouTube years ago, but I learned how to edit videos. I'm actually pretty good at editing videos. And if I wanted to completely retire from what I do for my career now, I could probably go out like the Hustler University guys and like hustle people on YouTube and say, hey man, I'll edit your videos for you and stuff like that, and start freelancing that way, because it's a learned skill. Right? It's something I learned on my own. There's no I don't know if there's any kind of certification for video editing, but you don't really need a certification if you go to people and just like edit their videos and say, hey, look, I edited this for you. What do you think? And then charge them a fee for that. Why Women Have Sex by David Buss. There you go. That's it. David Buss got really good stuff. Evolutionary Desire was really good. Long though, really long. Let's see. What are some other ways you can level up mentally, guys? What do you think? I will give you a couple more here. Meditation, maybe, affirmations, talking to a therapist or your boys, right? Going fishing, maybe, unplugging from technology, relaxing your mind a little bit. That's one of the reasons why Clary goes hiking. He just likes to unplug from everything and just go off in the woods and just sort of be one with nature. That's good for your mind, right? That's a good way to level up mentally. What are some ways that you guys, cold showers? Whoo. I don't know about, oh man, I went to a men's retreat a couple of years ago. My friend Benny hosted a men's retreat in Georgia. We went to Lake Lanier, Georgia. Have any of you guys been to Lake Lanier, Georgia? That place is awesome. The water was like bath water there. It was great. But we went there, and one of the things that we did was we sat in an ice bath, right? We all took turns getting in an ice bath, and I can't remember how long we had to be in there, like a minute or 30 seconds. I can't remember. Maybe it was 3 minutes. It felt like an eternity. That's all I know. But I remember I got in there, and I was just like, just like, I talked about earlier, I learned from my sensei, like everything's a mindset, right? And so I was like, I'm just going to get in there. I'm going to focus on a point, and I'm just going to focus on that point and like not think about the ice. And so I did. I just completely submerged myself in the ice. I found a point. There was a tree about 100 yards off, and I just focused on that point and just sat there and just focused on my breathing, focus on that point. And you'll find that everything else in the world just sort of disappears when you get into an ice bath like that. It totally shocks your system, and you got to force yourself mentally to overcome it. It's super uncomfortable. Right? Come on, man. So yeah, cold showers, maybe. That sounds good. Let's talk about leveling up physically. You want to get fucking huge? you want to get fucking swole? As my friend Chuck says, Chuck was Chuck Kohout. He's been on the podcast before. We used to do a panel show called the Mantastic Four. He's been banned from TikTok like 100 times. Chuck was a competitive bodybuilder, so bulking up and building lean mass was a huge goal for him, right? So leveling up for him would be like adding more plates, right? That would be leveling up. Do you want to simply not be fat? What do you want? What kind of goal do you want for your body? Do you want to get fucking huge because some guy on the internet says oh, you got to have huge muscles? Because if that's what you want, cool, right? But do you want to maybe just not be fat? I just want to not be fat, right? Simply not be fat. You could just, count your calories, add moderate exercise, that will reach your goals. Go for a walk every day and not eat as much. You'll not be fat. There you go. That's leveling up, right? If you're fat now and you want to not be fat, that would be leveling up for you. You see what I'm saying? Do you want to get lean? You want to get ripped? You want to get shredded? Again, diet, cardio, weight training, or calisthenics, that'll help you there, right? You can get shredded by just doing body weight exercises, right? You can't get huge and swole by doing body weight exercises, but you can get pretty lean and shredded by cutting out your calories, cutting down on your calories, and doing calisthenics. Okay, that would be leveling up for you. If that was your goal, that would be leveling up for you. Seeing a definition in your abs, that would be a goal for you. You know what I mean? That would be leveling up once you achieve that goal. Trent is best to level up physically. You gotta get that Trenbolone sandwiches. I do 5x5 lifting program, keto, low carb, intermittent fasting. Perfect, man. Yeah, and I love keto. dude, I've like I cut out sugar years ago, and I find that just eating a very low carb diet just works very well for me, but it's not for everybody. So that's why, like, all diets work if you are consistent, right? They all work no matter what. So you really got to find one that fits your lifestyle, that you can stick with, and keto low carb it works for me. I've tried intermittent fasting. I'm miserable. I can't, it's so hard for me. It's so hard for me to do that. Paul has metallic smelling poo. What? That doesn't make any sense. Why are you smelling my poo anyway, weirdo? My shit don't stink. Everybody knows that. Like the video, goddammit. All right. So the only time I could think of being a fat fuck as being a level up goal is if you're a sumo wrestler. What do you think? What do you think? Who wants to level up their fat content, guys? Anyone out there? Like, I want to get to the next level. I want to gain 100 pounds of fat. Like, is that leveling up for you? I mean, I guess if that's, I would question that. Like, why would you want to do that? But yeah, man, if that was your goal, maybe you do want to be like the best sumo wrestler in the world, and adding an extra 100 pounds will get you to that next level. I can see that. There you go. Sometimes leveling up just means stop doing stupid shit. There you go. Do ketones smell like metal in your poop? I don't know. I don't know, man. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. I've never noticed it. Because my shit don't stink. You know what I mean? Let's talk about leveling up spiritually. Guys, all gather around. Let's all gather around for church today. Okay. If you're an atheist, I think you can probably skip this one, right? Right? There's no spirituality if you're an atheist, right? You die, the lights go out, and you're done, right? All right. Yeah. Okay. I respect that. If you're a man of faith, though, maybe getting right with God is leveling up, right? Maybe you've lived a horrible life, and getting right with God is leveling up for you, right? It all comes down to mental point of origin, right? If you're an atheist, this is not for you. That's okay. That's okay. I'm not going to tell you like, oh no, you got to get right with Jesus. Like, I'm not gonna. I grew up Christian. I don't really consider myself Christian, so. But I'm saying like this actually, like, this is important for some guys. So that's why I'm talking about it. So if you're a man of faith, getting right with God might be leveling up, right? And so, like, how do you do that, right? Going to service, starting to go back to service might be leveling up for you, right? So whatever service that is, right? Maybe you're Jewish and you go to was a synagogue. Maybe you're Muslim, right? And you I don't I don't know what they call it. I'm sorry, whatever their church is, right? Maybe just going back to whatever service you go to is leveling up for you, right? Maybe meditation fits here too. Okay, like what if you're a Buddhist, right? Meditation sort of helps you get right spiritually, doesn't it? Doing things like donating to charity or volunteering, right? Doing something good for your community. That could be leveling up spiritually, right? Makes you feel good to do good, doesn't it? I'm not very religious, but I am a law of attraction guy, as you guys know. And there's a spiritual explanation for that. So, this part's fulfilled largely by me practicing an attitude of gratitude, right? It's I like to periodically sit back and just think of like 5 to 10 things I'm grateful for. I have a calendar reminder like in the middle of my day that just says, "What are you grateful for?" Pops up on my phone. And so when that pops up, I try to stop what I'm doing and just think about it just for about 5 to 10 things. What am I grateful for? Roof over my head, food on my table, internet so I can talk to you clowns. I'm grateful for that stuff, right? I'm grateful for you guys that are sounding off in the chat. Mosque, thank you. Mosque, thank you. I pray to the altar of the Alpha Buddha and abide by the 16 commandments of Boone. There you go. Leveling up spiritually. Maybe you guys read Rational Male Religion. There you go. Leveling up spiritually. That's not what that book's about, but it's a good book, by the way. So anyway, yeah. So law of attraction wise, like I try to sit there and think about things I'm grateful for, right? I'm grateful for energy drinks in the morning. I'm grateful for all that. And that helps me puts me in tune with, with God or infinite intelligence or whatever you want to call it. Okay. I like to call it God. But whatever you want to call it. So now the thing is, like, going back to my law of attraction course, right? Like there's about 3 explanations for it, and there's a spiritual one, but my course doesn't have that in it. So if you're not, if you're an atheist or whatever, like you could take my course. I had a guy, his actual name is Guy. He's in the 3% Brotherhood. He took the course, and he was actually like, man, for years he and I would argue about a law of attraction, mainly because I think he's getting more back into spirituality, but for a while there, I think he was sort of somewhat agnostic. I talk about him in the course, right? And he was like, dude, I'm not a staunch atheist. I called him a staunch atheist. He's like, dude, I'm not a staunch atheist. So I'd say, like, for a while there, he was somewhat agnostic, but he's gotten more back into spirituality. But he took the course and he really liked the way I explained it, because he had watched like the Secret. It was like, dude, this is total hogwash, like they're genies granting wishes and all that stuff. And so I took all of that type of explanation out of it and just talked about it from a psychological perspective. And, but there is a spiritual explanation for it. And I actually do believe in the spiritual explanation for it. I believe in the chick crack, guys. The woo woo. But yeah, so what do you do to get help in this area? And if you do it at all, right? And if you don't do it, that's fine. Right? Maybe you only pray to the altar of the Alpha Buddha. But if you are a spiritual person, like what do you do to level yourself up in this area, providing it's important to you, right? Like I said, if you're atheist or whatever, it's probably not important to you. It's all about being your own mental point of origin, doing what's right for you. A lot of people look at love as a spiritual thing, so getting better at love and relationships might fall into this category, wouldn't you say? I mean, if you read like David Data's book, right? The Way of the Superior Man, great book. It's very woo-woo though. And it all talks about, masculine and feminine energy, and it's all very spiritual. And, maybe that's how you look at love and relationships. And so getting better at that would be a way of leveling up spiritually, wouldn't you say? What do you think about that? Sound off in the comments. Send a super chat while you're at it. So this all leads me to my tagline. I help men level up and get better with women. Here we go. Fast, pray, and practice gratitude. There you go, man. There you go. You'll find that a lot of religions like practice stuff like this. There's a reason. There's sort of like a common denominator there. That's kind of why I like I say I was raised Christian, but the whole concept of spirituality when it comes to like the law of attraction just resonated with me more. It makes more sense to me because all the different religions, all their different books, they all sort of have, a lot of them have an underlying theme, right? And that's like the law of attraction sort of goes hand in hand with all those religions. So, all right. So it leads me to my tagline. I help men level up and get better with women. Leveling up when it comes to getting better with women pretty much comes down to learning game and learning frame control. Would you agree with that? That's like, I think if you want to get really simple, that's what it is. Learning game and learning frame control, right? Also means figuring out what women are attracted to and acting accordingly. So it turns out that women are attracted to men with drive, ambition, and a sense of purpose. It's funny that way, right? So leveling up with women often turns into a game of finding one's purpose and mission in life outside of women, outside of relationships. And the funny thing about all of that is that when you're leveling up to get better with women, the process tends to make you a better man in all areas of your life. Because the qualities that make you better with women make you better at business, makes you better with friendships, with your health. Women really do have the power to make us better men, don't they? If they're the right women, anyway. They also have the power to completely tear us down, especially if we have the Captain Save-A-Ho mindset, and we're just like, sticking with the really wrong women out there. They can absolutely ruin us. So it's a part of this process is, leveling up to get better with women is learning how to be a better picker, how to pick better women, how to filter out the trash, and a lot of guys are like, that's all American women. All American women are garbage these days, right? One of the things that I teach in my Law of Attraction course is that, is to activate your reticular activating system, right? Activate your reticular activating system. And what you'll find is that when you do that, what the reticular activating system is, if you didn't know that, is basically your mind tends to filter out stuff, right? It filters out a lot of stuff. You're just constantly bombarded with information on a daily basis, and with all your senses and stuff like that, if you took all that information in, you would go insane. So your mind has this ability to filter out stuff and only focuses on stuff that's important. And so a lot of things you don't even notice, right? And so if I have you, and I do this in the course too, I have you look around your room and look for something red in the room. And what you'll see is you'll start, when you set that trigger in your mind, you'll look around, and now all of a sudden you'll start seeing things that are red in the room, right? Like I got a red light in the background, but on this picture over here, I have, there's an American flag in the background. There's red stripes on it, right? And that's not something that I just focus on a daily basis, so I don't necessarily notice it on a daily basis, right? So the same thing goes with women. If you're just hyper focused on all the trash women out there, women with drug problems and baby rabies and tattoos, if you don't like tattoos, right? Like all of a sudden that's all you see. You just see all these women with tattoos out there. All these women with red flag cities, they're just absolute garbage women. And you're like, well, crap, they're all ruined. All of them in America. There's 4 billion women on the planet. I don't know what, 1.5 million, 2 million women in the United States. They're all garbage because that's what you're focused on, right? So if you learn to focus on qualities that you actually want, if you actually sit down, write out qualities that you want in a woman, that you must have, focus on that. This is one of the things I teach in the course. You'll start seeing women that check all those boxes, and they were there before. You just didn't notice them because you didn't have that in your reticular activating system. So it's a funny thing, which goes back to leveling up mentally, right? Fixing your brain. All right, guys, don't be a Will Smith. God damn it. Yeah, definitely not. All right. Hey, guys, I'm about to wrap up here. Send a super chat. Support the show, especially if you found any of this information helpful or entertaining, at least. Support the show. That's pretty much all I have, guys. Hopefully you've thought about some ways you might consider leveling up in your life and what that means for you. Oh, Matt says there's 100. Oh, let's see here. He says there's 167.5 million women in the US. Yeah. And they're all trash. Passport bros. See, Matt says it's per Google, but I'm saying this is per brother Matt. Brother Matt says. Matt's a fellow moderator in the 3% Brotherhood, guys. If you guys are looking to level up, and you guys want to swap notes with a good group of guys, down in the description is a link to the 3% Brotherhood. And there's right now, so the original group had 1,400 guys in it. That got destroyed, thanks to brother Chris. But we created a new group, and so that group, only about 75 brothers or so have gotten the word about the new group. So we're regrowing the group. If you've read How to Be a 3% Man at least once, and you can answer the admin questions, join the group. It's a good group of guys. All right. Anyway, yeah. So hopefully you guys have thought about some ways you might consider leveling up in your life and what that means for you. be sure to tune into Rule Zero tomorrow. I think John Fitch is up. I said that last week, but it turned out that Ryan hosted. So who knows? Who knows? We fly by the seat of our pants with the Rule Zero crew. So just follow me on social media, and I'll retweet it. Whoever's got the helm tomorrow. I'll actually be there tomorrow. I haven't been there for the last 2 weeks. I've been going on road trips to Salt Lake City. So I'll be on Rule Zero tomorrow, who's ever hosting. So just follow me for social media for that. Other than that, tune in Monday. My guest is Dave Anderson, the business bully. He's returning to the podcast to talk about how he lost over 284 pounds, right? Talk about developing himself physically, right? Leveling up physically. My man was like, I think he says in the interview something like, I think he was like 500 pounds, maybe 500 pounds at his heaviest. He's lost 284 of that now. Actually, like since the time of this recording, he's probably lost more than that. But it's impressive, right? He's lost like 2 humans worth of weight. Right. Here we go. Come join us in the 3% Brotherhood group and let us help you not hang yourself in your garage because of whamming. Yes. Yes. Don't do that, please. Anyway, yeah. So tune in, business bully. He's called the business bully because he helps coach business owners of multi-million-dollar companies, right? So the first time I had him on the show, we were talking about what that meant, like what it meant to manage a multi-million-dollar business, stuff like that. Fascinating guy. And I just been following him ever since we connected for that interview. And it's just like, it's impressive to see how much weight he's lost. It's like, wow, this is amazing. So we get into all of that. So tune in for that Monday. Other than that, none of you guys supported the show with Super Chats today. So we'll just wrap this up here. Be sure to at least like, subscribe, hit those notifications. Drop a comment if you're watching the replay. Drop a comment below. Any comment will do. Your favorite emoji, I don't care. Just sometimes I say that people just drop like eggplants. I don't care. It helps me with the algorithm, right? Follow me on social media. The links are in the description. Join the Patreon. You can join for as little as $10. That supports the show as well. If you guys tune in for these lives and you get value out of it, consider sending a super chat. You can send for like a $1. It helps out the show quite a bit. Or you can send a super sticker. That's good too. Get on the email list.comeonmanpod.com. I'll send you some free stickers for your troubles. And if you like those designs, they're also available in mugs and t-shirts and stuff like that. Not this one though. This one's not available as a free sticker. There's no cold approach in the cow pasture. That's only available in the merch store. And you can go to the merch store by going to merch.comeonmanpod.com as well. I talked about this quite a bit in my show today. This is like all about leveling up mentally, right? So leveling up mentally, physically, spiritually, this will cover 2 of those areas. And then we'll help you with the third area for sure. Because once you get your mind right, everything else falls into place. And then if you guys DM me on Twitter today, it's got to be today, Friday, the first 5 people that DM me on Twitter will get a 30% off coupon code for that. Other than that, I think that's all we have this week. I will see you guys tomorrow morning on Rule Zero.
This has been the Come On Man podcast. Now, go out and get it.